Right now, it's time to soak up the 8:30 high beam. And with us, privileged to have our guest of honor this morning, Dave DiDonato, who is a retired educator, retired baseball coach, in fact, Hall of Famer. So, again, it's been a while, but congratulations on that, and welcome in. How does retirement feel? Is that a word you're familiar with or comfortable with yet?
Better than I thought I would.
Really?
I stay active pretty much, but I do miss the interaction with the kids every day and the staff. Yeah, I miss that.
So you've been retired from the educator part for a little while, but on the coaching only for about a week.
Yeah, and who knows with coaching? it could change. I get teased a lot about that.
I'm sure. I
mean, how many articles can the TR write, And the funny thing, Brad, was the last one they wrote on me, they didn't even ask me anything, and there was full of quotes. So they just used my old ones and put them all together,
You've been archived.
Yes.
Well, your opinions might have changed on some things. Let's talk about education first. Looking way back, got out of college and started teaching. As you look back on that now, was it what you thought it was going to be, and what were some of the things that might have been better than you kind of imagined?
The thing that struck me the most is the little thing that in college they kept telling you got to make sure that they call you Mr. Mm-hmm. You got to make sure they call you Mr. And that was every teacher told us that. And when you get into school, that's what they do. They call you that. It's like we prepared for that, And some of the things we prepared for were not applicable to being in the classroom with your own class. I know that the girl who was in our education course was excellent. She was top line, and she was good. And I saw her a couple of years later at a kiosk in a mall in Canton. I said, "What are you doing? Moonlighting?" She goes, "Oh, no, I couldn't handle the discipline."
Really?
And the thing is that I learned was that if you can control your class, you can tell them the sky's going to fall and they'll believe you. But if you can't control them, then it's just going to drive you crazy. And I learned that through experience, because at first I had issues like that, and I looked at some of the guys I taught with that didn't have any issues, and I saw that they were all disciplinarians, and it helped also in coaching, especially too.
Then you became Mr. D.
Yes, yeah.
As you moved through your educational career with different positions, I guess, did you find yourself liking being an administrator?
I'll tell you, my first day as an administrator, I remember was at Central Catholic when I took the principal's job, and I was being interviewed by all the adults, on the board and all that, and a high school girl came in. I think it was Caitlin Gallagher, and I was just relieved to see her and talk with a high school student after and I missed it. And when the bell rang to start the school day and I didn't have to go in the classroom, I thought, well, that's pretty neat. I'll do what I need to do today. I had my own schedule, but it didn't take long before I was actually envious of those teachers going into that classroom. And the interaction with the kids is what it's all about. So,
well, yeah, and then you did a little stint of online. Was that the right kind of interaction?
That was tough because we could not hold anything over them. They didn't a lot of the kids online were unhappy in the classroom. Well, by putting them online, they're not the ones who are going to work hard. And it was our job to get them to work hard. And it's hard to do that over the telephone.
Yeah. Self-motivation doesn't work very well.
Yeah, you can't pull them aside and talk to them and look at them eye to eye, and not threaten them, but just push them to do something, So it was a little tough that way. But the ones that did want to, the ones that were working or couldn't go to school for some other reason, they were good. They stayed at it. Mm-hmm.
Let me jump over to coaching now, the baseball, of course, and you coached other things too, but most notably baseball. Let's go backwards here. You finished with an all-star game. Mm-hmm. Was that fun?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. And I got one of our players got to play in it, and it was at Conotton Valley, the field that that I built. A funny story about that is when I got there at Conotton Valley, Mr. Herman said, "We just bought these fields here." It was August. We just bought this land here for to put in baseball and softball fields. And I said, "Well, you got the guy. I just built the field. I didn't build them, but
Right.
I oversaw him at Central Catholic." And so he said, "We can't do this now." I said, "Oh, yeah, we can." So I called a meeting. I had 6 contractors in there. It was awesome. They said, "Well, we'll do this then, and we'll do this at this time." And we were playing on it in the springtime. It was unbelievable.
Well, and they're beautiful. They're lighted, and they host tournament games all the time.
Sure we do. That's a lot of fun, too. But it's more fun to play in them. That's the only other bad thing about it.
That's true. Coaching certainly has its ups and downs. I guess you were faced with one of the most excruciating downs before this past season. How did you and the team deal with the death of a player and the severe injury of another guy?
That was rough, and it's still hard for me to even talk about it.
Yeah.
So, but what it was Braylon was my number 3 hitter, and Garson was my 5 hitter. Braylon loved baseball, and Garson grew to love baseball, and was taking lessons in the off season and everything, and we were going to have a nice year. And we got through it. We didn't really talk about it too much. We kept his picture in our dugout, and we had shirts made with their with their number on it. Mm-hmm. But it was a rough experience, and we would have had a really nice season.
Yeah.
They were solid players, really good. And Braylon was just bless his heart, was a ray of sunshine.
Yeah, he was an exceptional
Sure
young
was,
man.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Do you feel like having the team though maybe helped some of these guys to rehab themselves a little bit rather than if they hadn't been on the baseball team?
Yeah, we had a saying, "Play like Bray," and the way Bray played was he just played the game. He helped other players. He didn't tear them down. He didn't yell at them, and all that. And we tried to emulate that. And I even told the players whenever we had the funeral services in the gymnasium that, you guys got to help me get through this too.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty well. I mean, as well as could be. I would love to have those kids. And just got to tell you a little quick story about them.
Sure.
The day before they died, I met with them that evening.
Braylon died.
I'm sorry.
Garson is
before they were in the accident.
Yeah.
And I met with them in our equipment room because we were going to have a parent meeting, and I was going to show the new uniforms. So I was let them try on their uniforms and everything, get them so they fit. And Garson wasn't there, and Garson was always late. And so as we're standing there, I said to Braylon, and Brett Putnam was there, and I said, "Where's Garson at? And is he late again?" And Braylon looked, and his eyes, you could have hung my baseball hat on his eyes. And he goes, "Oh my gosh, I left him outside. And, it's February now, and he's freezing out there, and he's got a T-shirt on." And so I could hear him opening the door, and I could not see him, Brad, but I could hear him. And when Bray opened that door, I heard Garson say, "I've been out here 15 minutes. What are you doing?" And all that. And their banner was just, it was really made me feel good. And then when they were looking for a jersey for Garson, Braylon was like obsessed about going through those jerseys and finding it. And I said, "Oh yeah, you better be obsessed about it, what you did to him."
Right.
And then the next day we got it wasn't just a few hours later, I got the news,
Yeah. So let's look at baseball, and if we can quickly, a couple questions. Can you give me a highlight from Dover and or Indian Valley? Obviously, you got the state championships there, but is there something that stands out at those places?
They were very similar. We had good tournament success with Dover. I really wanted to take Dover to the state. We got to the regional finals once and the regional semifinals. And so they're similar that way. They're more similar than I thought they would be. Because you're in Indian Valley, and you think Dover kids are different. They're really not.
Yeah.
They're one and the same. I loved both of them. They were great. But the highlight for me was just watching. Well, at Dover, it was just watching them accept what I was trying to do, which was all different for him, and then doing well with it.
Yeah.
It was really good. And the Indian Valley kids, I've always said, would run through if I told them, you got to run through that wall to win this game, they'd probably do it. I'd have to say, no, get back here. Right. I'm just kidding, But they would probably have done, they would do whatever they had to do to win a game. And the funny thing was, I always liked about Indian Valley was when it was close in the late innings, they were mad. They weren't happy being competitive, They like, well, let's put these guys away now, So really, they were a lot alike, little different, slightly, but not that much,
Now that you've retired, and you're like a boxer.
Yeah.
This is one of your retirements.
Yeah.
Does the induction into the Hall of Fame have any different kind of feel or meaning?
Oh, it sure did. And I remember when I was a young coach going to the clinic, not even considering that would happen to me. And it kind of just evolved from, I think when you win tournament games in the OHSAA or the Baseball Association, you get points, and that's how they do it. And we had a lot of tournament success at both schools, but I got inducted when I was with Indian Valley, but
it's well deserved whether you got enough tournament wins or not.
Thanks, but yeah, and I got to tell you this, Brad, this is true. When I walk across the dais, where the podium is, as I'm walking across there, I could look out in the audience and see all the area or all the state high school coaches are there, and I was jealous of them. I was jealous of them. I would have traded the ring, the honors, anything to be them. To just have, I wanted your team, or I want your team. I'll take any team. And it was funny. I almost changed my whole talk because it was that moment that I thought, what am I doing? I'm not done coaching. I need to get back into this. And I would have done it. I would have said, here's my ring. Let me have your team,
I understand that. Maybe you can help somebody else in the near future. All right, I got one more thing. You brought your grandson Lane in here with you. He has become the brain of the family for sports. Sorry to tell you that, but as a former partner with me. Lane, we don't have very much time, so I got to know. Celtics are up in the NBA Finals 2-1. Are they winning that thing, or what's going to happen?
They're going to win in Game 5.
In 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Golden State Warriors don't have defense. They might have Draymond.
Or they might not after the suspension. They might not have Curry, too, so that would be a big problem,
exactly.
Right? All right, so Celtics in 5? All right, we're not a betting station, but you heard it here. So I want to thank you, Lane, for bringing Dino in here. And, Dino, thanks again. Congratulations on all the accomplishments. I've always use you as kind of a sounding board for any coaching things that I'm doing, so I appreciate that too.
Well, thank you, Brad. I enjoyed working with you in the past, and if you ever get in a bind, you know where you can call me.
I think I do. So, all right, we'll keep that in mind. Thank you so much. That is Dave DiDonato. Dino, who is a retired educator and Hall of Fame baseball coach, here on our 830 High Beam on the BT Morning Show.